Wild, fast, and nearly impossible to tame. Sounds like a wild animal, right? But in China, these fierce creatures are raised on farms, without fences. Each wild boar eats up to 5 kilograms of food a day, can roam for miles, and remembers food spots for over a year. Smarter than some dogs. So how do they do it? Let's dive into China's untamed world of wild boar farming. The wild boar, the ancient ancestor of today's domestic pig, was first tamed nearly 9,000 years ago in the Middle East and China. Today, its descendants roam across Asia, Europe, North Africa, and even America. Known for their sharp memory, wild boars can remember paths and food sources as well as dogs or even chimpanzees. At first glance, wild boars might seem too fierce, too wild to raise. But in some parts of China, farmers have found a surprisingly natural and clever way to do just that. No crowded barns, no concrete pens. Many simply let the boars roam freely through nearby forests during the day, just like their ancestors did thousands of years ago. This method is known as semi-wild farming. The boars explore, dig, graze, and at sunset, they often return to their pens on their own. And the breeds? Farmers pick strong, healthy piglets, usually just a few months old and full of curiosity. These are special hybrids, part wild boar, part domestic pig. The mix keeps the rich, wild flavor of the meat while making the animals a bit easier to manage on the farm. When it comes to food, wild boars aren't picky, but they are well fed. One adult boar can eat up to 5 kilograms of food each day. That's like 50 apples. And their diet? Not just boring pig feed. They get fresh leaves, sweet potatoes, grains, even fruits. Thanks to their habit of digging through the soil for food, they help loosen the earth, trigger seed germination, and support the natural regeneration of the ecosystem. On some farms, their drinking water is infused with Chinese medicinal herbs, like astragalus or ginseng, to help boost immunity. Wild boars don't breed as easily as domestic pigs, but under the right conditions, one sow can give birth to 5 to 8 piglets per litter, sometimes even more. When wild boar piglets are born, they don't look anything like pigs. They have brown, yellow, and black stripes across their backs, just like tiny baby tigers. Those stripes help them blend in with leaves and grass, hiding from predators. After about 3 to 4 months, their fur darkens, and they start to look like their parents. Farmers also tag the piglets' ears to keep track, and, yup, the boys usually get castrated early on. It's for safety and tastier meat later. But don't be fooled. Even when raised on a farm, wild boars don't lose their wild side. They're smart, cautious, and very fast. Catching one when it's time to sell? That's a real battle. Some farmers even say it takes more skill to catch a wild boar than to raise one. But they keep doing it, not just for the profit, but for the pride. Because in these forests, raising wild boars isn't just farming. It's a tradition, a challenge, and, in a way, a dance between humans and nature. Now, let's explore the unique wild boar preparation process in China. First, the whole carcass is dipped into boiling water for a short time, just enough to loosen the coarse hair. Then comes the scraping, a careful, rhythmic task using knives or special tools to clean every inch of the thick hide. In many parts of China, roast wild boar is more than just a dish. It's a celebration. The process takes hours. The meat is slowly roasted over open flames, sometimes marinated with herbs and local spices. The result? A rich, smoky flavor and crispy skin that locals absolutely love, especially during festivals or family gatherings. But wild boar meat isn't just delicious, it's nutritious too. It's higher in protein, lower in fat, and richer in minerals like iron and zinc compared to regular pork. That's why many health-conscious eaters are turning to wild boar as a more natural source of meat. Beyond roasting, the meat is also stir-fried, stewed, or smoked in traditional dishes. Even the boar fat is treasured. And that's the story of China's wild boars. Fierce, smart, and surprisingly farmed. See you in the next wild adventure. Imagine an animal as strong as a tank, as fast as a sprinter, and as vital to the prairie as the grass itself. This is the American bison, a creature that once roamed freely in endless herds and now stands at the center of both conservation and cuisine. Follow us on an extraordinary journey through wild grasslands, careful ranching, and cutting-edge processing to uncover the full story of bison, an icon reborn. Massive, majestic, misunderstood. The American bison, often mistaken for buffalo, is one of North America's most iconic animals. Weighing up to a ton, standing nearly 2 meters tall, it's the largest land mammal on the continent. Bison have roamed the grasslands of North America for thousands of years. And despite their bulky frame, they're surprisingly athletic. Capable of running at 55 to 60 kilometers per hour, they can outrun most humans in seconds. With a shaggy hump, curved horns, and a powerful frame, the American bison is built for endurance and for survival in the harsh, open plains. Bison live in structured herds with clear hierarchies. But don't let their calm appearance fool you. Bison are wild animals, and when they feel threatened, they can become dangerously aggressive. During mating season, bulls compete by charging and locking horns, battling for dominance and the chance to mate. It's a test of strength, and only the strongest pass on their genes. But the bison's role goes beyond brute strength. By grazing and wallowing in dust, they help aerate the soil, disperse seeds, and maintain prairie biodiversity. Their natural behavior mimics controlled burning, helping restore grasslands and prevent overgrowth, benefiting hundreds of other species. Today, thousands of bison now live on private ranches across North America, where they are raised not only for conservation, but also for their meat, a lean, protein-rich alternative to traditional beef. Each herd is carefully managed and paired for breeding, ensuring genetic diversity and the long-term health of the species. Unlike wild bison, which fend entirely for themselves, ranch-raised bison benefit from regular health monitoring. Veterinarians and caretakers provide routine vaccinations, check for parasites, and make sure each animal has access to clean water and a balanced diet. Bison are typically grazed on natural pastures, where they feed on grasses, herbs, and forbs, maintaining their diet as close to their wild diet as possible. Farmers carefully feed bison a mix of natural pasture, hay, grains, and vitamin supplements to ensure their health, especially during colder months when grazing is limited. Once, over 30 million bison thundered across the American plains. But by the late 1800s, unchecked hunting drove them to the brink of extinction. By some estimates, fewer than 1,000 remained in the wild. Why? Mostly for their hides, and sometimes just for sport. Fortunately, conservationists and indigenous communities led efforts to save the species. Today, wild bison live mostly in protected areas like Yellowstone National Park in the U.S. and parts of Saskatchewan, Canada. They roam in herds, grazing on prairie grass and shaping entire ecosystems as they move. In places like Yellowstone, helicopters are used to track herds, and individual bison are tagged with health monitors. Wildlife teams even administer vitamins and nutritional support to ensure their survival in extreme conditions. The bison meat industry processes over 200,000 bison annually in North America alone. In the processing plant, first, the meat is carefully inspected for quality, including checking its texture, color, and overall freshness. Once the meat passes quality control, it moves on to the cutting stage. The bison carcasses are broken down into various cuts like ribeye steaks, tenderloin, and sirloin. Did you know? A single bison can yield over 270 kilograms, 600 pounds, of boneless, trimmed meat, enough to serve thousands of high-protein meals. Plus, bison meat has up to 25% more protein and less fat and calories than beef, while being rich in iron, zinc, and vitamin B12. Today, demand for bison meat is growing in North America as consumers seek healthier, eco-friendly alternatives to beef. Packaged meat is distributed to grocery stores and restaurants across the region. From ancient grasslands to your dinner plate, The journey of the American bison is a powerful story of survival, sustainability, and respect for nature. Thank you, and see you next time. Get ready to dive into the fascinating world of cod, one of the most important fish species on the planet. Did you know that millions of tons of cod are caught every year, fueling beloved dishes like classic fish and chips and hearty seafood stews worldwide? In this video, we'll take you from the icy waters where cod are caught using various traditional and modern methods, all the way to the high-tech processing plants where this prized fish is cleaned, filleted, and prepared for your plate. Did you know there are 3 main types: Atlantic, Pacific, and Greenland cod, all living in chilly ocean waters? These bottom dwellers love hanging out on the seafloor, searching for snacks. On average, a cod can grow to about 51 inches long and weigh between 55 to 77 pounds. But some absolute giants can tip the scales at a whopping 220 pounds. Atlantic cod can live up to 25 years, which is pretty impressive for a fish. And get this, during mating season, cod can swim up to 200 miles just to find the perfect spot to breed. Cod fishing has long been a way of life in many coastal communities across the North Atlantic, from the icy fjords of Norway and Greenland to the rugged coasts of Newfoundland, Canada, and the UK's North Sea. These areas are rich with cold, nutrient-dense waters, perfect conditions for cod to thrive. Fishermen have come up with all kinds of clever ways to catch cod over the years, and one traditional method that's still used today is trap net fishing. It's especially popular in areas where cod swim into shallow bays and fjords to spawn. So when the cod begin gathering near these coastal areas, fishermen set up long, funnel-shaped nets called trap nets. These nets guide the cod into an enclosed space where they get gently trapped without injury. Another widely used method for catching cod is bottom trawling. And it's exactly what it sounds like. Fishermen drag a large, heavy net along the seafloor to scoop up bottom-dwelling fish like cod. The net has weighted rollers that keep it close to the ocean bed while it moves, capturing cod and other species that live near the bottom. While it's an effective way to catch large quantities, it's also a bit controversial due to its impact on the marine environment, especially seabed habitats. Pot fishing is another traditional and eco-friendly way to catch cod, and it's surprisingly simple, yet effective. Fishermen use baited traps, or pots, which are like underwater cages placed on the sea floor. Cod swim in to get the bait, but once inside, they can't easily get out. Jigging is a hands-on and highly selective method for catching cod, often favored by smaller fishing operations or hobby fishers. It involves using a fishing line with a weighted lure, called a jig, that's repeatedly lifted and dropped to mimic the movements of prey. Cod, being curious and hungry predators, are drawn in and strike the jig. This method is not only precise, but also minimizes bycatch. And finally, there's long lining, a traditional yet effective method, where a single fishing line, sometimes stretching for miles, is fitted with hundreds or even thousands of baited hooks. These hooks are often baited with squid, herring, or other small fish that cod love. This line is left to soak in the water, attracting cod and other ground fish. It's an efficient method that can catch a large number of fish at once, while still being more selective than trawling. When the fishing boats return to port, the unloading process kicks off with large bins filled with freshly caught cod and heavy-duty crane hooks, lifting them off the vessels. From there, the fish are quickly moved straight into the processing plant, where they're washed thoroughly in big industrial tanks to ensure they're clean and ready for the next steps. After washing, the cod are carefully sorted by size and quality, making sure each fish is handled properly for its best use. After washing and sorting, the cod suitable for whole freezing have their heads removed and are carefully placed on trays to be frozen whole using industrial freezing machines. Finally, these frozen whole fish are packed into large bags, mainly serving the food service industry, including restaurants and seafood suppliers who need high-quality frozen cod for cooking and processing. The remaining cod are sent to be processed for fillets, where the best-looking and clean fish portions are carefully separated. Filleting is done both by skilled hands and modern machinery. Workers manually trim the fillets with precision, while advanced fillet machines speed up the process for larger batches. After filleting, the fish go through a portions grater that sorts the fillets by size and weight, ensuring consistent quality for consumers. Finally, the fresh, white fillet pieces are either frozen quickly to lock in their quality or packed neatly in boxes and bags, ready to be shipped out for distribution. Cod meat is rich in high-quality protein, low in fat, and packed with essential nutrients like omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin B12, and minerals such as phosphorus and selenium. These nutrients support heart health, brain function, and overall wellness. Cod is popular worldwide, but especially loved in Europe, North America, and parts of Asia. Fish and chips is a classic dish that famously features codfish as the star ingredient. The cod's mild, flaky white flesh makes it perfect for frying. Traditionally, the fish is dipped in a light beer batter or seasoned flour before being deep-fried to crispy perfection. It's white and lean, making it a versatile choice for many dishes. The flesh is tender, yet holds together well during cooking, which is why cod is a favorite for frying, baking, and grilling. Its mild taste also makes it perfect for soaking up spices and sauces, without overpowering them. Did you know that carp, once considered a humble pond dweller, is now the star of a billion-dollar global industry, with some giants weighing over 100 kilograms? In this video, we'll dive into the fascinating world of modern carp farming and processing, where massive harvests, surprising techniques, and some truly giant fish await. Whether you're into aquaculture or just curious how your fish dinner gets to the plate, this is a journey you won't want to miss. Carp are some of the most fascinating and diverse freshwater fish you'll ever come across. From goldfish, originally bred from wild carp in China, to the elegant koi found in Japanese water gardens, these fish come in a surprising variety of shapes, colors, and sizes. Some, like the long-bodied grass carp, are herbivores that help manage aquatic vegetation, while others like common and mirror carp can reach over 4 feet long and weigh up to a whopping 105 kilograms. They're not just big, they're survivors too, with lifespans that can stretch up to 38 years or more, unless you catch them and put them in a frying pan. Beyond that, carp carry deep cultural meaning in places like Japan, where they symbolize strength and determination. The journey of carp farming typically begins by sourcing healthy young carp from hatcheries. These fish are carefully selected and released into large, well-managed ponds. Pond farming provides an ideal environment for carp to grow, allowing farmers to control water quality, feeding, and overall fish health more easily. Carp are known for their impressive size and fascinating behavior. Carp are bottom feeders, using their sensitive barbels to search for food in murky waters. They're curious, adaptable, and quite social, often seen swimming in groups and exploring their environment. However, in some regions, carp are considered an invasive species that stir up sediment and disrupt local ecosystems. In carp farms, these fish enjoy a varied diet that can include grains, commercial pellets, worm-mixed feed, and even small fish. Feeding process is typically done in a controlled and efficient way, farmers often scattering food across the water surface. These feeding sessions usually happen at scheduled times each day to ensure the carp get enough nutrients without overfeeding. In some larger operations, floating feeding rings or feeding barges are used to keep the food in specific areas and reduce waste. Farmers are often very meticulous when it comes to breeding carp. To trigger spawning at the right time, these selected fish are given gentle, safe hormone injections that stimulate reproduction. Once ready, eggs and sperm are collected by hand, and artificial fertilization is carried out under controlled conditions to ensure the highest success rate and healthy offspring. After artificial fertilization, the fertilized carp eggs are carefully transferred to special spawning machines or dedicated hatching tanks. These tanks are designed to keep the water clean, oxygenated, and at an ideal temperature to support healthy development. It usually takes about 3 days for the eggs to hatch, depending on the water conditions. Once the carp eggs hatch, fish farms begin the important task of sorting and managing the young fish at different growth stages. The fry are first moved into smaller, controlled nursery tanks or ponds. As they develop into juvenile and then medium-sized carp, the fish are gradually transferred into separate, larger ponds based on their size and age. This step-by-step separation helps ensure that all fish have equal access to food and space, preventing overcrowding and reducing the risk of injury or stress. Harvest Day is the busiest and most anticipated time on a carp farm. But before the full harvest begins, farmers will carefully select the biggest and healthiest carp to set aside as future brood stock. Carp harvesting is typically done using large seine nets. Farmers stretch these nets across the pond and slowly draw them in, gradually closing off the area to gather the fish into a tight group. Once the carp are corralled, workers begin lifting them out by hand or using large scooping nets. The fish are then carefully placed into water-filled containers or transport tanks, ready to be sorted, weighed, or delivered. This method ensures a smooth, efficient harvest while minimizing stress for the fish. Carp are harvested mainly for food, as they are a staple protein source in many countries, especially across Asia and parts of Europe. Globally, carp farming accounts for a significant portion of freshwater aquaculture, with millions of tons consumed each year, making them one of the most farmed and consumed fish species in the world. Once the truck full of fresh carp arrives at the processing plant, things move fast. The fish are quickly unloaded and sent through a rinsing system to clean off any debris. From there, it's all about precision. Workers and machines sort the carp by size and purpose, whether they're destined to be filleted, gutted, or sold whole. The factory buzzes with activity as automated cutters and skilled hands prepare the fish with care. Finally, the carp is packaged, sometimes fresh, sometimes vacuum-sealed or frozen, ready to make its way to markets around the world. It's a streamlined process designed to keep the fish as fresh and flavorful as possible from pond to plate. Carp meat is known for its mild, slightly sweet flavor and firm texture, although it can be a bit bony depending on the preparation. Carp is commonly fried, steamed, grilled, or cooked in soups and stews. In Central and Eastern Europe, Christmas carp is a holiday staple. In Asia, especially China and Vietnam, carp is often braised in rich, savory sauces or steamed whole with ginger and herbs. Its versatility makes it a valuable catch in both home kitchens and restaurant menus,